Hey, what's up guys? Chip Walters here today. I want to talk about another Blender tutorial, and this one has to do with working with group object. And in particular, Blender doesn't handle work planes very well. So if you want to actually design something on this surface here, this inclined plane, if you want to put some objects like I have here on there and continue to work on them, you can certainly work in local mode, but it might be better just to put them here on the ground and then put an instance of them up here on the plane. In the case of SketchUp, that would be called a component. You just take a component up here. The problem with that is, let's take a look. I'm going to select these and Control G to group them, and now they're grouped. And now I will Shift A and say give me a group instance. The name is actually, let's just change this name to, we'll call him Fred. And then Shift A, and we're going to create a group instance of Fred, and there it is right there. So it's right in the same spot, but notice that our origin point for this group is here, and we can't edit this group. So if I'm actually wanting to move this origin point, I can actually select this and do a Control Alt Shift C. Actually, I can't. If you notice over here in the tool palette, here we have set origin for these, but for this group we can't set the origin, although I know I can do that with the Shift Control Alt C button where we say origin to geometry. And then of course, you know, if we want to put any object, this little cube on here, it's fairly simple to do. We go down here, and what we'll do is we'll make sure this is set to active element and this is set to active over here. We'll make sure that this is turned on, which is this is the align rotation with snapping target, and then we turn snapping on. And we need to be snapping to a face right here, and then we hit the G key and we move it over here and we snap automatically to the face. Okay, so how are we going to fix this? Well, this is one of my first videos that I'm going to promote a third-party plugin, and there are quite a few of great plugins for Blender, and this one is called GroupPro, and this is it. It's $30. You can get it at Gumroad. A lot of people that do serious modeling in Blender use this plugin. It's a great plugin. Let's look and see how it works. So here we have our objects, and we'll select them. GroupPro uses a pie menu, and you may or may not have heard of pie menus. GroupPro automatically has a pie menu installed when you install it as an add-on. The way you install it as an add-on is you download the zip file and you drop it in your add-ons folder. Not the zip file, but the folder inside the zip file goes in your add-ons folder. Once it's installed, go into your user preferences here and you type in group, and here it is. You just check here and then you say save user settings right there, and that'll have it installed for you. Let's see how it works. First of all, we want to select the objects we want to be part of the group. We'll hit the Control X command, and the pie menu comes up and we'll say create group. Now we have this nice group, and very much like SketchUp, it's all one object now. Very unlike a Blender group where you can actually select each different object separately. In this case, you have to actually go into the group and select it, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Once we have this, we want to duplicate it. To duplicate a GroupPro group, you want to use the Alt-D command. Remember, Shift-D was duplicate in Blender, and Alt-D was duplicate with linked data, or duplicate an instance. So here we're going to duplicate an instance of this group with the Alt-D command. I'll do that and move it over here and let it go. So now we have two different groups, and notice the origins are the same on each group, which is great. Now let's go ahead and set up our snapping so that we can snap this group to this plane here, and we go to active, and we'll go to face, and we'll go over here again to active element, and then we'll select on this. We'll hold the G key. Now remember that in this case, if you notice, we did not turn on this snapping mode, because what we're going to do is we're going to hold the control key down, which toggles the snapping mode as long as it's down. So let's do that. I'll hold the G key to move it over here, and now I'll hold the control key down and it toggles and it snaps in place. Now once we have it snapped in place, we can edit this one or this one. So that's one other nice thing about this, is that either one of these can be editable. Let's go back here and we're going to edit this. So I'll again Control X and go into the edit group. Now we're in this edit group. I can select this object or this object, and I can tab into it, and I can zoom in, and I'm going to basically go to face mode, and I'll hit the Alt key and select just this ring, and I'm now just going to move this up, and as I move it up, you'll see that it's moving up over here, so we know that's a true instance. And move it down, same thing. Okay, so one more thing I'd like to share with you is that there are a couple very small tutorials, I call them big little tutorials, that I keep on my Instagram as well as on a Blender artist forum. And basically, if you go to my Chip Walters Instagram, you'll see them. Here's dropping objects on top of a surface. It talks about how to use an add-on to basically drop them. I know we have the same kind of features in SketchUp. There's here, we can also go to the Blender artist big little tips under the support tutorials, tips and tricks. And there's a whole bunch of tutorials here. You can see here we're talking about how to build this kind of a shape in Blender quickly. You know, how to build something like this kind of a shape in Blender quickly. There's a lot of different tutorials there. So anyway, if you're interested in some really quick little hits on tutorials, might be good to check out these two. So that's really all there is to it. That's a great plugin. It's got a lot of other neat features that are worth looking at, but this is particularly interesting for me. Thanks for watching.